Of course, good afternoon. I get the previous session was very interesting, guided by Professor Hamdi Abdelazim, and I hope that ours also will be interesting for you. It's entitled Women for Oncology, Egypt. So we are going to introduce to you Women for Oncology. My partner and myself, we are presidents of Women for Oncology Egypt, Dr. Ola Khorshid. Unfortunately, she was supposed to be here, but she has to leave for an emergency. So Dr. Ola Khorshid is professor and chairman of Medical Oncology Department, National Cancer Institute, Cairo University. Myself, I am Lubna Sidki, Professor of Clinical Oncology, Qasr El Aini Center of Clinical Oncology, Qasr El Aini School of Medicine. Really, I would like first to convey my thanks to the General Secretary of OncoEgypt, Dr. Reem Ahmed, as well as a special thanks to Dr. Rasha Fahmi, who was really an asset, and she paved the way for Women for Oncology Egypt session to be scheduled among the agenda of Women for of OncoEgypt. We have really elite distinguished guests, panelists, and speakers. And they are from various specialties. Definitely oncology in Egypt, they are leaders, as well as we are encountering for the first time other specialties which are related to women empowerment. I would like to introduce the chairpersons. We have in clinical oncology, Professor Heba Zawahri from NCI, Medical Oncology, and Professor Lubna Izz Al Arab, Clinical Oncology, Ain Shams Faculty of Medicine. We have also Dr. Nadia Zakhari, professor at the NCI and former Minister of Scientific Research, and currently she is coordinator of Scientific Research, Women Congress, National Congress of Women. And also, I'm really happy to encounter two new figures. Dr. Sharifa Sharif, CEO, Institute of Governance and Sustained Development, Professor of Public Administration, and she was Vice Dean of Faculty of Economy and Economics and Political Science, Cairo University, a very well-known figure in governance, as well as Layla Al-Mushannab, USAID. And the title, Layla, you will present it by yourself. We have also, last but not least, we have Dr. Khalid Khalaf, and he is CEO of IBDL. Yes. And he will tell us what's IBDL at the end. We are missing Dr. Ines Abdel Halim. She is professor of clinical oncology, Mansoura Faculty of Medicine, and she is deputy of the Egyptian Parliament, member of Health Committee. Hopefully she will join us. I would like to convey thanks also to the audience who are with us, and hopefully we will be able to introduce to you what's meant by Women for Oncology, the story all through the presentations. We have been accredited by ESMO during the last ESMO 2022 conference, and we are really honored to have the opening speech by the chairman of ESMO Women for Oncology Committee, Dr. Pilar.
Hello, everybody. First of all, thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to share these minutes with you. I'm really sorry for not being able to be in Egypt with you. My name is Pilar Garrido. I am a medical oncologist at Ramon y Cajal Hospital in Madrid and currently the chair of the ESMO Women for Oncology Committee. This is my declaration of interest slide. I would like to start by explaining the ESMO Vision 2025 and the three pillars of this vision. The one pillar is one oncology community. The other key area is education for life, and the third one is accessible cancer care. Why these are the three pillars of the ESMO vision? Because for ESMO, one oncology community is key because cancer professionals, the idea is that cancer professionals grow together in a community that fosters inclusion across disciplines and geographical borders to cater to their diverse needs. Education, as you really know, is also very relevant, and there are a million of different initiatives promoted by ESMO in this area. Education for life, because the idea is that oncologists everywhere are supported in their development through continuous education to help us keeping up with the standard of cancer care and advance in the different fields. And finally, of course, very relevant, accessible cancer care. This is our vision that people around the world benefit equally from reliable cancer care built on a concerted global effort to create sustainable models of prevention, diagnosis, and treatment. I think this slide shows very graphically the diversity within ESMO, because ESMO membership base offers a good representation of the diversity of oncology professionals worldwide. ESMO has more than 25,000 members. It's a global community composed by people from 160 countries. Currently, 49% of ESMO members are women, although this percentage is increasing every year. There are people from more than 40 different specialties within ESMO, and 50% of our members are young oncologists. So I think it's a good expression of diversity. Why? Because recognizing the diversity of ESMO members and their needs is at the heart of what ESMO is and what ESMO does. ESMO values diversity as a leading principle. And this is key that while valuing diversity, it's important doing that by fostering global collaboration among oncologists, but also paying special attention to local specificities and diversity, as this meeting is a good example. So, what is the mission of the ESMO Women for Oncology Committee? Our mission is raising awareness and promoting equal access to career development opportunities for female oncologists while providing a platform for networking with other oncologists, female but also male, and also among national groups. In this slide, we can see the member of the ESMO Women for Oncology 22-23 committee members. As you can see, we have women, but we also have men. We have people from different parts of the world. We have young oncologists and also senior oncologists. And we have a core member group, and we have an extended members group. You know that ESMO every year recognizes through the Women for Oncology Award a ESMO member or an institution that has significantly contributed to supporting the career of women working in oncology. This year, the award was for Professor Fatima Cardoso, And she is director of the breast unit in Lisbon, Portugal, of the Champalimau Clinical Center. And she was recognized for her outstanding commitment to oncology and patients. Professor Cardoso forgets her way in oncology, becoming a role model to a whole generation of women working in oncology in Portugal and beyond. And believe me, if you have not had the opportunity to hear her speech at ESMO Congress, please do it, because it was really amazing. So, what are our strategic objectives, the ones for the ESMO Women for Oncology Committee? One of our objectives is to monitor and sensitize the oncology community on the gender imbalance in leadership position in oncology. And I will explain in another slide briefly this concept. The second strategic objective for us is to help to educate and train women oncologists to support the creation of women leadership in oncology, because we need role model, we need sponsorship strategies and mentorship strategies. And finally, the third strategic objective is to provide resources and establish collaboration to support access to training and career development opportunities for women oncologists. So, let's explain briefly how we can elaborate our strategic objective of monitoring and sensitizing the oncology communities. We collect every year data in our monitoring study to supervise the percentage of women acting as president of national society, invited speaker in national and international congresses, and so on. And we also monitor the number of women as first or senior author in top journal within the oncology field. We also perform surveys in order to identify the challenges related to career development, especially for women. We promote interactive talks, and we promote forums as the one we did in the ESMO Congress in Paris. For us, it's also key to educate and to help to educate and train women oncologists to support the creation of women leadership in oncology through different mentorship strategies, and we collaborate with the YOC group, the Young Oncologist Committee, in these mentorship strategies. As mentioned, we every year at ESMO Congress and the Global ESMO Congress, we have a forum that we try to use as a career booster. And for the first year, this year, we will have an ESMO forum in the Asian Congress. And finally, we promote interactive talk and even Facebook roundtables. And finally, the third relevant aspect for us and to collaborate by promoting a network to share and to grow. So for us, it's key to have a global perspective, and this is why to promote some kind of survey to identify the challenges. But we also know that we need to take a look at local realities, because it's a local level where it's easier to interact and to promote the changes that are really needed. So, although we know that gender inequality is a complex, pressing global challenge, we hope that with this kind of initiative, as is the ESMO Women for Oncology committee, we try to help our colleagues around the world. So congratulations again for your initiative. Thank you for your attention, and I hope to see you soon. Thank you.
one of the, she's actually the pioneer. Thank you.
Of course, thank you very much, Professor Lubna, for the invitation and for nominating me as pioneer. I am not a pioneer. I have started a job when, in the era of precision medicine, a patient with cancer patients should benefit from the advances in from the advance from the advances of genomics. And I think myself and Dr. Nadia Zakhari, Dr. Lubna, and many of the oncologists, and Professor Rasha Fahmi, Professor Reem Ahmed, all the oncologists have initiated us and intensified our work, Professor Heba Zawari, for the advancement of genomics in Egypt. And we started looking for oncogenomics since 2014. And this made a great benefit for patients who could benefit of targeted therapy and gene-based therapeutics, as well as biological therapies. And this was a very important achievement in the favor of the cancer patients. And I think that in the Ministry of Health are applying many protocols for the benefit of cancer patients for be treated by newly developed medications in biology, immuno-oncology, and targeted therapy. فالحقيقة thank you very much. I am not a pioneer. I am merely a person who started a job, and I want that many others can continue this way of developing genomics for oncology.
Thank you, Professor Wafa. It's a great honor to be among the eminent figure as a woman, as an oncology, as a biology, as a scientist, as a community woman. Really, I'm so happy to initiate in Egypt this collaboration for women to push forward the woman and to be in the first row in everything. Really, the woman, really, we do a lot of work, should be translated to the community, and we all one unit to encourage our new generation of young oncologists, not only the female, but all the male. Now, I have the honor and the pleasure to introduce a very eminent figure in our community, Professor Dr. Sharifa Sharif, CEO, National Institute of Governance and Sustainability Development, Professor of Public Administration, held the position of Vice Dean, Faculty of Economic and Political Science, Cairo University. Dr. Sharifa, welcome for Women for Oncology.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, distinguished panelists, honorable guests. Thank you for having me. Tawan, Professor Rasha is behind this all. And congratulations on the co-leadership for Women for Oncology, an incredible initiative. Before I start sharing with you a couple of statistics and success stories that were implemented by the Ministry of Planning and the National Institute for Governance and Sustainable Development, I wanted to share with you a personal story. Long ago, I was a medical student. Russia probably doesn't know this story. I started my professional career as a medical student for a week during the deanship of Professor Dr. Hesham Fouad. And I was very happy. I was very enthusiastic as a young 17-year-old woman or girl at that age. wanting to give back to community and very enthusiastic on being a doctor and making a difference and everything. And then suddenly we had a relative visit us, and he asked me, "What university are you in now?" And I told him medical Australiani, and I'm very happy. So he looked at my mother and he told her, "What did you do to your daughter? What? How can you do this to her?" So, in a nutshell, he said, "You're gonna 7 years of studying without vacation. You're gonna go in looking something. Looking, I was pretty then, so I was. He said, you're gonna go in looking coming out looking completely different than you are right now." And then forget your personal life. And after you finish, you're not going to find work as a woman doctor. Now that's what I regret. I took a decision according to his feedback, and which I deeply regret right now, because looking in the inspiration I see around me, it was definitely a wrong decision to take. I ended up at the American University in Cairo, majoring in business, and then public administration, and my PhD in public policy from England. And now I'm in government, working as the first female CEO of the National Institute for Governance and Sustainable Development. And also my boss is the first Minister of Planning, a female Minister of Planning in the government of Egypt. So it turned out okay, but I would have wished that I continued in the medical community, but I married a doctor. So, so it turned out fine at the end. So I just wanted to share with you that story, actually. And then moving to I wanted to share with you a couple of statistics related to women in the medical, worldwide, how many medical doctors worldwide. I did my research before I came here, so I looked at the numbers. How many women doctors worldwide? So I found out that, of course, men outnumber females in the medical community worldwide. So we have 36% women and 64 men. It varies from country to country. In Latvia and Estonia, we have 70% women doctors, but in Japan, we only have 20%. And in Finland, we have 51. So the numbers vary by country, which is very strange, actually. What's the situation in Egypt? The situation in Egypt, we have 43% of the total number of doctors in Egypt are women, 57 men, and of course, 92% of the nursing staff are women. So when we're sitting here today, we're talking about closing the gender gap. It's a central part of any sector to create more sustainable, inclusive economies and societies. The healthcare sector, women across the globe will encounter persistent obstacles and advancement, particularly in leadership positions. So when we look around us, we don't find a lot of women in leadership roles as heads of departments, heads of hospitals, and so forth. So I think we have to work together, women for women, on this area tremendously, on empowering women for leadership positions. According to the World Health Organization, in this note, there's only 26% of women are holding leadership positions around the world. So it's not a national problem, it's an international problem. Limiting the influence and impact and hampering diversity and gender equality. Promoting gender balance is very important. Leadership positions in medical oncology is crucial. Of course, oncology is a core element to offer cancer patients comprehensive and systematic approach to treatment and care, while preserving the quality of life of cancer patients through the entire cancer journey. So how can we jump or head start the enhancement of female leadership in oncology? In my belief, it requires two main components. First of all, we have to address the challenges. We have to know where the problems are, what the problems we're facing. for advancing women in leadership positions in oncology. And second, we have to provide an enabling environment for them to do so. So awareness raising is crucial to promote female leadership in oncology through education and training. And I think it was said in the presentation, the importance of capacity building and training in the field of oncology for women to support their access to training and career development opportunities. If we look at the Ministry of Planning, for the past four or 5 years, we've been working on empowering women across the 27 governorates. We invested in women empowerment. But when we talk about women empowerment, we're talking about equal opportunity. We're not just talking about empowering women, we're talking about equal opportunity, equal access to training and capacity building. So gender equality is not about the number of women. We're not talking about numbers and percentages and quota, but we're talking about the skill sets they need to advance in their careers. So we've been working cross-cutting the 27 governance. Women empowerment and gender equality is core in Egypt's Vision 2030, and of course in the 17 SDGs. We've been working closely with the National Council for Women on several programs, one with IBDL actually and Missouri University. We reached out to thousands of women across the 27 governorates, and we also worked with the National Council for Women also on another leadership program with the ILO, training to date more than 200 women from academia, private sector, and public sector. When we look at the two main national projects in Egypt, Tekaful and Karama and Haya Karima, we're looking at women empowerment through these national projects. Their safety nets, we're securing social safety nets for women across Egypt. And we have another flagship program that we also developed and implemented for the past couple of years. We reached out to women across the continent, across the African continent, training more than 450 women across 45 countries in Africa. And we also launched what we call She for a Digital Future, أو هي المستقبل الرقمي, and this is about bridging the gender digital divide, the digital illiteracy that women face in Egypt. So we, by the end of 2022, we will have trained more than 8,000 women in this project. We believe, of course, as the Ministry of Planning and, of course, the training arm, the National Institute for Governance and Sustainable Development, we believe in education, engaging and empowering women across, again, the 27 governorates. All our programs, of course, are gender sensitive and inclusive, including people with disabilities. So basically, in a nutshell, I don't want to take a lot of your time, but we have to highlight the visibility and the importance of gender equality, uniting around a common belief that gender equality means equal opportunity for both men and women, giving the right skill sets for women to develop their careers and to reach leadership positions. Of course, without this, without political support is one of the main pillars of advancing women in different, of course, women in oncology and across, of course, Egypt, but political support is very important. And we want to see, of course, a region where our daughters grow up having the same access to resource and access to services as men do. And I just want to close my statement. I'm a very great believer of women supporting women. So a wise man once said, the mark of an extraordinary woman is not that she rises above the rest. It's about how she reaches back to rise others. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon, everybody. Our next speaker will be Dr. Khaled Khallaf. Dr. Khaled is the CEO at the IBDL Learning Group, IBDL Foundation, Cairo, Egypt.
شكرا يا دكتورة. طبعا بعد الكلام اللي قالته الدكتورة شريفة أنا ممكن أروح. أنا اسمي خالد، أنا بشتغل CEO لشركة تعليم مصرية أمريكية اسمها IBDL Learning Group. الحقيقة واحدة من البيلر الرئيسية اللي احنا بنشتغل عليها بقالنا سنين، البيلر الرئيسية في الشركة في كل الدول اللي بنشتغل فيها، احنا بنشتغل في حوالي 30 بلد. Women Empowerment. احنا بنعمل يعني بنعتبر من الشركات المهمة اللي بتشتغل في الومن امباورمنت في ميدل ايست اند نورث افريكا من سنين طويله، من اكتر من 15 سنه. عندنا مشروعات مهمه قوي. في واحد منها من اهم المشروعات اشتغلناه مع الدكتوره شريفه بصفتها رئيس المعهد القومي للحوكمه والتنميه المستدامه. ده مشروع عمره 4 سنين، خرجنا منه حوالي 13 دفعه. 13 دفعه يا دكتوره. الدكتوره رشا فهمي احد خريجينا. البرنامج باختصار يعني هو قايم على فكره اننا ندور على افضل العناصر النسائيه في الحكومه المصريه جيوغرافيكال. يعني مش بنعمله في القاهره والحكومه المركزيه بس، لا، احنا تقريبا مش تقريبا احنا بنروح كل المحافظات في مصر. لحد دلوقتي رحنا كام محافظه يا دكتوره؟ 19 محافظه ومكملين ان شاء الله. الهدف الرئيسي للبرنامج ده هو برنامج اكتشاف تالنتس، اكتشاف مواهب عند السيدات المصريات العاملات في الحكومه المصريه على المستوى الجغرافي في كل المحافظات. بطريقه معينه بنطلع منهم انيشيتيفز. الانيشيتيفز دي بتروح لمعالي وزيره التخطيط علشان نعمل لهم اب سكيلينج، نعمل لهم ابجريدنج واب سكيلينج في المناصب القياديه بتاعتهم. اقدر اقول لكم وانا قاعد مع حضراتكم ببساطه، احنا عندنا عدد كبير من السيدات في الحكومه المصريه اترقى باكثر من الدرجه المستحقه، بمعنى سيده كانت في ميد كارير تطلع لمساعد وزير او تطلع لنائب وزير او تطلع لعميد كليه بطريقه يعني سيستماتيك. ليه بنمشي بالسرعه ديت؟ عشان احنا كونسورتوم كبير. IBDL هي الجهه اللي بتنفذ، معانا الجهه اللي بتشرف وبتخطط هو المعهد القومي للحوكمه وفوقيها وزاره التخطيط. الجهه اللي بتطلع المشروع من الناحيه السياسيه هو المجلس القومي للمراه، معانا بكل كل مكاتبه في المحافظات وكل الدعم بتاع الدكتوره مايا مرسي. كمان معانا برنامج الامم المتحده للسيدات UN Women، بيدخل معانا في كومبوننت ليها علاقه بالجندر ايكواليتي وشويه الحاجات اللي ليها علاقه بتمكين المراه على مستوى الجندر يعني. عشان ما اطولش على حضراتكم، انا هنا ليه؟ انا هنا علشان اعلن ان احنا ويلنج للتعاون مع الاسوسيشن في بدايتها، ونعمل تراك ل women in medicine especially oncology. التراك ده هيبقى فيه موضوعات تعليم فصلي او تريننج، يعني انتراكتيف تريننج في الكلاس روم، وهيبقى فيه جزء مهم اونلاين او ديجيتايز للكونتنت اللي هتتعمل يعني ان كلاس روم، يعني جزء اي ليرنينج. وده ممكن تستضيفه المنصه بتاعه الحكومه المصريه اللي اسمها استدامه، اللي هي بتمتلكها المعهد القومي للحوكمه اللي بتديره الدكتوره شريفه. فمعنى كده ان احنا بنعمل ايكو سيستم للتعليم. الكونتنت والسبجكت ماتر اكسبرت بناخدهم من حضراتكم من الجمعيه، احنا بنحولهم للفاونديشن، من الفاونديشن. دورنا احنا اوكي من women of oncology in Egypt، هي هتعمل لنا الكونتنت من الناحيه التكنيكال في موضوعات كتيره عشان يبقى عندنا تراك او موديول كبير. IBDL دورها انها بتنظم الموضوع ده نقدر نقول يعني تو ديجيتايز الكونتنت. هو بيتم استضافته من خلال منصه استدامه، وده يعني عمل مستدام وعمل يعني يطلع جيل من السيدات العاملات في الفيلد يعني على خبره علميه اكتر. بشكر حضراتكم على الدعوه، وبشكر الدكتوره رشا، وبشكر حضرتك الدكتوره لبنى، ويعني looking forward ان شاء الله ان احنا نبدا. شكرا.
ده كمان ممكن يكون بارلل، لانه من خلال لو هو على منصه استدامه فيستطيع ان يستضيف من هم في الاماكن البعيده في محافظات اخرى، فبتصل الى اكبر عدد ممكن من السيدات او اللي عندهم تخصص الاورام ومن يعملون. فده يعني الحقيقه شكرا دكتور خالد، شكرا دكتوره شريفه، يعني you are an asset لنا. اتفضلي.
Good afternoon, everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm really happy to be among this gathering. And it is something not very classic for us as a professor to attend a medical conference, but it's a gathering for empowering women and especially for oncology. I'm really happy and honored to be among a very distinguished panelists and big figures and professors in the community. And I'm really supporting the empowering of young ladies and intermediate age ladies as well as senior ladies in the field of oncology. And everybody dealing with me in my national cancer or my center, National Cancer Institute, know very well that how far I am a little bit biased to encourage women in this field. Before I introduce my dear Professor Dr. Nadia Zakhari, I would like to add one simple sentence, that Women for Oncology is an old body to be reshaped now, recently, in a very elegant and very networking association. We cannot ever forget the figures of oncology like Dr. Nazli Gadel Maula, like Dr. Layla Musa in Alexandria, and like ربنا يديها الصحة الدكتورة إحسان الغنيمي. And we still have many professors in this room who taught us ethics and how to be dedicated to the patient, like Professor Dr. Sumaya Izzat, Professor of Radiotherapy in the National Cancer Institute, and again, our dear Professor Dr. Wafa El-Mitnawi, which is a role model in her career and how far she struggled. And I knew the history. She struggled many years ago to build up molecular biology in the Kasr Al-Ain University. So Women for Oncology, just to reunion again and to remind everybody that impossible can be possible, and to express to the new generation, making awareness. Like if I do campaign for breast cancer, I start with awareness, and here we need awareness. Awareness, what is Women for Oncology? Women for Oncology is that we can encourage the young generation, if they have a mentor or role model, they may be better than them by fighting, by perseverance, and by being more dedicated and believe in her capability and talent. So it's time to introduce Professor Dr. Nadia Zakhari. Professor Nadia Zakhari is a well-known figure in Egypt. She is my dearest friend many years ago, because she is a professor of biology in the National Cancer Institute, and we did many research together. And she was a former Ministry of Scientific Research, and now she's still a professor of biology in the National Cancer Institute, but she is as well coordinator scientific research committee among the National Congress for Women. So please, Dr. Nadia.
لا ما فيش حاجة هتوقفها. هو كده. لا هو واقف كده.
هو واقف
كده كويس.
شغالين على البرزنتيشن بتاع الدكتورة نادية. بعد كده
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you, Dr. Heba, for presenting me. Um, Today I will talk about the Egyptian women in medical field. Next, please. Okay. Okay. I'm really proud to be Egyptian. Why am I proud to be Egyptian? Because the history tells us about the famous Greek woman who lived before Christ, and she wanted to work as a physician, but at that time it was forbidden everywhere except at Egypt. She came to Egypt and she learned and trained how to be a good physician. And then she returned back to her country to work as a physician, but under the clothes of men, because it was still forbidden for women to work in this field. Also, ancient Egyptians preferred to be governed and ruled by strong women rather than by unqualified men. And we know Merit Petah, who lived 2,700 years before Christ, and she was the first woman in the world to work in the field of medicine, and she was titled chief physician or the beloved of God. We also know Cleopatra. We know about her that she loved Antonio and she committed suicide, but this was not the truth. She was a very clever pharmacologist. We also know Dr. Helena Sidaros, who was born at 1904, and she studied mathematics, but she didn't find herself in the field of mathematics. She started to study medicine, and she was a famous gynecologist. And by the age of 70s, she started writing novels and stories for the kids. Also, Dr. Samira Musa, she was not a physician, but she was working in nuclear medicine, and this is a very important field for medicine. And she was born on the 3rd of March, 1917. At that time, Cairo University, the Faculty of Science refused to have Dr. Samira as a demonstrator, but Dr. Ahmad Musharrafa said, I will not keep as a president for Cairo University except when she is a demonstrator in the university. We have many, many role models. Of course, Dr. Nazli Gadel Maula, the pioneer of chemotherapy, Dr. Bahiga Morsi, the pioneer of cytology, Dr. Rabab Gafar, the famous physician and the famous oncologist working in the field of lung cancer, other surgeons, Dr. Dina Shokri, and yesterday only, the former minister, Dr. Mahar Rabbat, was chosen as a Heroes of Health Gala worldwide. If I will talk about the role models, I will stay hours and hours, so I will turn to some statistical data, and in this concept I would like to acknowledge المرصد المصري لمؤشرات العلوم والتكنولوجيا والابتكار بأكاديمية البحث العلمي، المجلس الأعلى للجامعات، الجهاز المركزي للتعبئة والإحصاء, because all the data was provided from them. Let us start from the students in the faculties. We find that 54% are girls and 46% are boys. Most of them are present in the social sciences and humanities. Regarding the medical science, only 11% are studying medical sciences. If you look for the student according to the scientific faculties, we find that dentistry, pharmacy, nursing, and physical therapy, they comprise girls and boys around the same number, but in nursing, most of them, or 100%, are girls. In medicine, boys are more than girls. Okay, what about graduates? Of course, the same percentage will be with graduates. We find that medical studies comprise 9% only because some of the girls or some of the students cannot complete in the faculty of medicine, so they change the faculty. However, let us see the statistical data of Egyptian researchers. we find that in governmental universities, females comprise about 45%. Ain Shams University has the highest percentage of females. 54% of the researchers are females, and this is followed by Cairo universities with 50% females. And Suez Canal University has the least percentage, which is about 37%. If we look to the private universities, we found that the MSA has 58% female researchers, followed by Future, 55.8% females, followed by MAST, which is the Masr al-Alum wa Technologia. 49% of the researchers are females. The Arab Academy for Science, Technology, Maritime and Transport, 40% are females, and the total is 47.8%. If we look to other institutes affiliated to the Ministry of Scientific Research, we found that the National Research Center has 55% of the researchers are the female, and the least percentage is present in the National Research Institute of Astronomy and Geophysics, where it is only 19%. If we look to institutions other than the scientific research and so on, we find that in other ministries, we find there are 15,000 researchers. The highest percentage is found in the Ministry of Electric and Energy, as in the Institute of Atomic Energy Authority, where they comprise 44%, followed by the Agricultural Research Center, where they comprise 30%, and this is affiliated to the Ministry of Agriculture, followed by the Ministry of Industry, where they comprise only 10% of the researchers. Let us look about the percent of females in the medical and health sciences in the governmental faculties. We find that 47% of the researchers in the medical field are females in the governmental sector, but in private universities, they comprise 54%. Okay, what about the females working in different medical services? We find that in universities, الأطباء البشريين, they comprise 39% females, الصيادلة 90% are females, أسنان are 60% females, and تمريض are 89% females. في المعاهد التعليمية اللي هي تابعة لوزارة الصحة, we found that it's more or less the same. We find الأطباء البشريين comprising 33%, الصيادلة 80%, الأسنان 30%, and nursing 83%. So what about the females holding different scientific degrees in medical fields? And this statistics is 2019, and we know that every 4 years there are new statistics, so it will differ the next year, inshallah. We find that those who had a diploma from the Faculty of Dentistry, they are 57%, the Master 53%, and the PhD or MD 56%. Regarding pharmacy, 83% had a diploma degree and 73 master degree, 76 PhD or MD. Regarding the nursing, 99% of those holding the diploma are females, followed by 93% for the master degree and 95% for the PhD degree. As regard for the physical therapy, 71% of those carrying diploma are females, the master 76%, and the PhD 58%. Unfortunately, I didn't have the statistics for the medical physicians, and this I recommend that we can do the percent of females in different institutions like the NCI, like the faculty, all the faculties of medicine, like the institutes affiliated for the Ministry of Health, and I hope to present it the next time. Okay, let us see the number of researchers according to the scientific degree. We find that the lower degrees like a demonstrator and assistant teacher, the females are more, but when we come to the researchers or the teachers, we find that the males are more than females. Maybe because sometimes the ladies cannot continue in this tough career. Anyway, I will talk about females in the medical field in general. The females comprise 43% of Egyptian doctors, 92% of the nurses, 30% of the martyrs of medical personnel during the COVID-19 pandemic. They gave and sacrificed the precious for the sake of others. Also, 70% of those who are burdened with caring for COVID-19 patients and were more likely to develop coronavirus were females. And as we see in this picture, a female has many, many jobs, not only the job she's working outside of her house. So this takes a lot of time from her. Okay, I will talk about the ranking of the Egyptian scientific research. And since we are comprising about 50% of those who are working in the scientific research, so it is important to know what are we doing in the scientific research and what is our impact. Egypt ranks #1 among Arabian countries and #4 among the MENA region, and there were 10 Egyptian scientists among the best 909 scientists worldwide, and 2 of them were from Egypt. And regarding the international scientific research, we find that Egypt ranks in the upper 17% among countries. We are 35 over 239 countries. However, we are better in some specialties like medicine, like biotechnology and biochemistry and genetics, like pharmacology, like chemistry. We are ranking better than the upper 17%. What about ranking of Egyptian scientific research? Because scientific research is not only measured by our international publication. There are other KPI that we measure the scientific research using it. These are the human capital and researches, budget allocated for scientific research, attracting scientists or brain drain from Egypt, equipped laboratories, collaboration between scientific research and business, contribution of scientific research to the GDP. If we take all these pillars, we find that we are not in a good situation. We are 108 over 142 countries. Our problem is that few women occupy decision-making like senior position like minister, governors, presidents of universities, or deans. If we look for a leadership, we found that a leader must have responsibility, motivation, support, vision, teamwork, management, communication skills, influence, mentorship, ethics, decision, and contribution. And I think this is found in men and women. So why don't we occupy the decision-making positions? Maybe because in the Arab world we are characterized by overprotective child upbringing, and this especially for girls, which leads to limited risk management in innovative and leadership skills. Early marriage is also a problem. Cultural barrier and misinterpretation of religion, and I want to stress here, it is misinterpretation. A misconception that males do not prefer spouses of leadership skills. Stable marriage comes as priority over career in our society. The scientific role models that are presented in books and media are not encouraging. We are always with grim faces and thick eyeglasses and so on. Also, teachers often discourage girls from taking the mathematics and science STEM stream at secondary school. However, some STEM schools have been established now in Egypt. In job interviews, men act as if they are working since they were born. Unlike girls, they are always shy and feel humility. Despite the different laws that support women's access to leadership positions, there are many who believe that equality between men and women is not enough to give them the right to be leaders. Arabic women have played a major role in that, as many of them prefer to manage their homes rather than to assume responsibilities at work and putting blind confidence in men. However, the condition is much, much more better these last 8 years, as we found the description of National Strategy for Empowerment of Egyptian Women 2030 and its 4 pillars is political leadership, economic and social empowerment and protection for women. Also, the Academy of Scientific Research and Technology is a partner in this progress as there are many programs between L'Oreal, UNESCO, and the Ministry of Scientific Research, which is empowering women in the field of science and technology. Statistical data indicates that the number of women researchers now I can say it exceeds 50% and not 43% of Egyptian researchers, so we can expect a big role for Egyptian women in the promotion of scientific research. More women are appointed as presidents for institute and research center, and several were appointed as deans for different faculties, but the number is not enough yet. The Academy of Scientific Research and Cairo University established in 2017 during the Year of Women prizes, which are especially for women in the field of scientific research. I will take a few minutes to talk about the National Council for Women. We are 28 members appointed by our president, and we are 17 committees, and nowadays we are forming a new subcommittee from the Scientific Research Committee, which is working in the field of intellectual property. And the Scientific Research Committee is always addressing the strength of women. The mission of the Committee of Scientific Research is building skills of scientists to commercialize and apply their innovation and to develop SMEs based on scientific research, improving and solving problems through scientific consultation, disseminating scientific research culture by simplifying science to the community and correcting wrong ideas, studying the causes which lead to lack of access of the females to leadership positions, especially in the field of scientific research. And here I would like to collaborate with Dr. Sharifa and Dr. Khaled, because I heard from you are working in the same objective. Take advantage of the results of scientific research for the benefit of women in the field of health and social aspects, paying attention to the young researchers, creative and innovative persons, developing talents of pupils, especially those in the slum areas, and forming for them libraries and computer labs. I would like to thank you and show you the condition long ago at the times of Einstein in a nuclear physics lab. They were all men, except only one lady was sitting with them, and she was wearing like them. And nowadays, in this same laboratories, they took a picture, and they were all females except one man sitting with them. Thank you so much.
The next speaker will be my partner, co-president, Dr. Ola Khorshid, professor and chairman of Medical Oncology Department and Hematology Oncology and BMT Department.
So Good evening and welcome to the Women for Oncology Egypt. This is a very stimulating session, and I thank OncoEgypt for hosting us. And I welcome all of you to the third meeting for Women for Oncology Egypt. So, this is a session that is dedicated to all females working in the field of oncology. And we know that in Egypt and in the MENA region, we are all facing challenges uh, in terms of careers and advancement and a lot of things. So let me just inspire you and tell you that the first female chief physician in Egypt was Meretta. This was 2700 BC. So ancient Egyptians did prefer to be governed by a very strong woman rather than by an unqualified man. And we know that females, they represent around 51% of the Egyptian population. And despite the fact that we know that 50% of oncologists are females, yet unfortunately 7 to 10% only go into leadership positions. So we do have gender challenges in oncology, and this is why we have created this group. We know that we all have challenges with career advancements, with leadership positions, and with even with the mere payroll. So why are we seeing these challenges? We have to admit that we do have social pressure. Living in our region, we know that it is not women are not perceived to be leaders. Women are expected more to be wives rather than career-oriented women, and we do know that we have lack of balance in work balance. There is biasment among managers regarding men. Self-esteem and leadership skills are lacked in women, and we do have lack of role models. Now, having said that, I have to say that the National Council for Women is really doing a great job trying to solve these issues. So, let me also tell you that the founder of oncology in Egypt is Professor Nazli Gabi Maula, and she inspired us. So, she was the one who founded the Department of Medical Oncology in the 1970s and developed a very strong pediatric oncology program. This so she was the chairman, and she was followed by two great women, Professor Rabab Ghaffar, chairman of medical oncology, and she was a true leader in the field of oncology, and certainly Dr. Hiba Zawahi, professor of medical oncology, to whom we all know and are inspired with. So, Women for Oncology was actually developed and founded in 2019. It was an idea that was started by Professor Dr. Rabab Ghaffar. And in 2019, we started the initiative, and due to COVID, we had to delay the call for action till 2022. So during the last ONTEC, and I'm sure that most of you did attend it, we established the Women for Oncology. So, Women for Oncology mission is to empower Egyptian women and women in the MENA region working in the various fields of oncology profession. So, we are targeting female oncologists who are affiliated to the specialties in oncology. And our goal is actually to support the career, empower women in the field of oncology. We are initiating advocacy groups to support female cancer patients and their families because we know the issues that they suffer from whenever they do have cancer. We will organize cancer awareness and preventive campaigns all over Egypt. We will collaborate with national and international organizations and societies that empower women in Egypt, and we will collaborate with regional countries of limited resources, so especially those facing crises such as Yemen, Syria, Iraq, and Sudan, and with other African countries. Now, how are we going to do this? This is going to be through steering committees with different task forces, and I truly thank all the amazing uh, women who are part of this society who will be joining these steering committees in different activities in order to achieve our goals. So, the other thing is we are collaborating very closely with the ESMO, and you'll hear, and I'm sure that you have heard Professor Pilar presentation, who is keen to make sure that Women for Oncology Egypt is a success story. So, with this, I thank you, and I just want to start. I know that my dear colleague, Dr. Lobnesh, is going to be taking over and explaining the whole idea of Women for Oncology. I urge everyone to join the society to help in promoting the ideas. It is truly created to empower women in the field of oncology. Thank you very much.
I was saying that we are partners and we were discussing every teeny beeny detail. So we have the same, we are sharing the same ideas. Maybe my presentation will be a bit repetition, but I will take you through the tale of Women for Oncology Egypt, why we started.
I have a pleasure and the honor to introduce the coordinator and the women after the idea of Women for Oncology, even before ISMO accreditation. Professor Dr. Lobna Siddi is a well-known clinical professor of clinical oncology in Egypt and in the Middle East. She is a supporter to every good achievement, either women or men, and she is supporter for the new generation, and this is well known for everybody, to everybody. Professor Lobna Siddi was thinking for gathering women who are working in the field of oncology maybe 5 years ago and more, and she was supposing to have an association رابطة المرأة ضد الأورام أو لمساعدة العاملين في مجال الأورام, and she have many thoughts, and then this is all polarization or polarized to Women for Oncology, and it was officially a branch from ESMO. So thank you very much, Professor Dr. Lobna. You did a great effort, and you guys are all great women, great ladies in the room today, and we will listen to your presentation.
Actually, it wouldn't have been a reality without the collaboration of all women who are present here and those who will join our association or foundation, Women for Oncology Egypt. As Dr. Ala mentioned, we are targeting all female in the oncology field and those who are affiliated to them. We inspired Women for Oncology from the ESMO Women for Oncology, which started in 2013. The president of the ESMO, she conducted a survey on the challenges facing oncology professionals in their career development. And the results were really shocking. There was a very remarkable underrepresentation of female oncologists. And no wonder they have developed the Women for Oncology, ESMO Women for Oncology Committee, which is chaired by Dr. Piral Garrido, who gave the opening speech. And it's like a voice and support for women who are working in the oncology field to overcome all obstacles and challenges they are confronted with. We have so many facts, as mentioned before, that women, they make up a large proportion of healthcare workers. However, men continue to hold 70% of the leadership positions. And in spite of commitment to gender equality, this figure still remains unchanged. In oncology, we have more female oncologists in the clinical practice than men. And we have growing number of female members in the oncology societies. However, this is not mirrored in the real life, and they are less likely to have leadership roles. So we are in a plateau situation. Do we have the evidence for that? It's global, as mentioned before by Dr. Sharifa. Yes, the issue is global. This is an American study which was published in 2020. The investigators, they went through website of all accredited training programs in oncology, medical, surgical, and radiation, wondering whether women are equally represented among academic oncology leadership positions. It's a cross-sectional study which went through the accredited training programs from October 2018 to June 2019. A total of 273 programs have been identified, and the majority were included. A total of 6,000 clinical faculty were identified, and women represented only 36%. Investigators were analyzing data concerning women representation as total faculty, as leadership positions, and chair positions. And as you can see in this figure, in the three main branches of oncology, medical, radiation, and surgical, we have the dark columns represent male predominance, and this is in the United States recently, 2020. Therefore, in general, gender equality will have substantial gains in all aspects of life, including health. And the author recommended that to overcome gender discrepancy will have an impact, increasing the role models. We need to have role models to have an impact which can inspire the young generation to pursue their careers and hence promote leadership oncology. Another study which was published in October, 1 year ago, 2021, it was a European study where data from the ESMO Women for Oncology authorship and monitoring studies were collected, looking whether female leadership in oncology has progressed together with commitment to gender equality. They have collected all published articles over 3 years, 2017, 18, and 19. And they studied the proportion of female first authors and last authors. As we can see, over 3 years, the female first author proportion remained unchanged. It's the same within a range of 38 to 40%. However, last author have encountered changes, dropping from 2017 from 30 to 24% and then rising again. Also, the authors have identified that female oncologists were significantly less likely to be board members of international and national societies. And that was a very important finding, a direct relationship between the gender of the president and the number of female oncologists in the boards. The more the females are president of societies, the larger the number of females in the boards. So, in spite of Women for Oncology ESMO initiatives to improve gender balance in oncology, progress is real but slow, and still there are major gaps. Therefore, we need to maintain regular review over time for female oncologist development in leadership. What about the Middle East and the North Africa? I encountered only one publication by Salem and co-workers. This publication included 88 participants. That was a questionnaire which was distributed during the AMAC, Arab Society for Medical Society Against Cancer annual conference. Only 88 participated, and the results actually were shocking for me. Only one Egyptian participated in this. Maybe the number of participants was not high, I don't know. 88, the majority were from Tunisia, followed by Lebanon. This will raise the question, what's the situation in Egypt? In spite, as mentioned before, that we have pioneer female experts in the field of oncology, which started in the late 50s and the early 60s. Still, we don't have available data about the total female representation within the field of oncology and the exact proportion of women in leadership positions. This is an effort that needs organization, collaboration, and hence was the rationale for development of Women for Oncology Egypt, to take the lead, to unveil challenges facing female oncologists during their career development, including all cancer centers all over Egypt, and promote and foster a supportive environment for women advancement in oncology. Therefore, we need motivation, we need leadership, mentorship, and training to overcome it. Can we do it? Yes, we can do it, but we have to do it all together. Collaboration. We need to have a national network of communication and collaboration between all cancer centers scattered in all over Egypt to empower the women in oncology in Egypt. Actually, it's not a battle between a man and a woman, rather than trying to adjust the balance between them, because they are partners. We are partners in the field of oncology, male and female, but we need to be equal. So empowerment is our mission, and our vision is to design and implement leadership and career development in oncology for women. As mentioned, we have decided to have our logo as Merit Betah, the first female physician in the historian Egypt. And actually, she was given the title the chief physician, and she was training male. The roadmap, we had a phase 1 with official declaration, as mentioned by my dear partner, Professor Ola, and we received ESMO accreditation in the ESMO 2022, which was a couple of weeks ago. Currently, we are establishing the advisory board and organizing the steering committees with planned task force. Together, we are looking for sponsors and resources everywhere with all organizations. Our goals are to empower the women and include all female in the oncology centers all over Egypt. Again, we are also targeting the female patient and her families. We need to support her in all aspects of life and organize cancer awareness and preventive campaigns all over Egypt. We are looking for collaboration of the presidential initiative, Women Health. These are some examples of the programs. Actually, there are so many helping women. Our activities, in addition to the steering committees, we will have serial dynamic fast-paced waves of seminar and events. Actually, this is the second wave, including Egyptian distinguished guest expertise and clinical leaders in oncology and empower aspects. We target audience are women in oncology affiliated to cancer centers, having live interaction and discussions and questions and answers, either physical or virtual, and discuss strategies how to implement leadership directions through a network of interinstitutional collaboration. The message I would like to deliver that Women for Oncology Egypt is made to win and achieve great accomplishment, which requires teamwork, perseverance, persistence, and continuous innovation. October is the Breast Cancer Awareness Month, so I promise you that next October 2023, we would have achieved establishment and activation of the national network of collaboration among the cancer centers. We are gonna guide a national breast cancer awareness campaign in collaboration with the presidential. We are looking for the presidential initiative for early detection and screening of breast cancer. Also, we will establish an outreach program for the neighbor countries who are in crisis and with limited resources, like Yemen, instance, as well as the African countries. And hence is the role of Egypt, which is the core of Middle East and Africa. I'm really happy to announce our website, and this is the address. It will be activated in 2 weeks. Mark it. It has like a wrap-up of our activities, including the previous wave, this wave, and we are looking for seeing you in the next Women for Oncology Egypt Wave 3, which will be scheduled in November 3rd, 2022, among the agenda of the National Cancer Institute Annual Conference, which will be held from 2 to 4 November 2022. Thank you. Layla, yes. Would you like to comment? And give us, actually, Layla, present yourself. Your title is very difficult, Layla.
Too complicated.
And it's not too complicated, but we need to know,
Okay.
actually.
طيب. To start with, my name is Layla Al-Mushnib. I've been working for the cause of empowering women for almost 20 years now. And please don't do the math, but they've been 20 years. I worked with several multilateral donors, bilaterals. Currently, I work with USAID on the economic governance activity as gender and social inclusion advisor. And actually, let me start maybe by congratulating you on a wonderful initiative. And I really hope that once it develops, it can be replicated among other specializations in medicine. We had a lot of wonderful and inspiring presentations, so I'm not sure what is left to address, but let me highlight a couple of things which I think might be important. I would like to take a step back and talk why is it important to promote for women leadership in oncology. And the reason that I think it's important to talk about that is because we women, we need to know, we need to understand why is it important for us to be there on leadership. We want to be sure that we can defend our cause whenever we go and we talk about it. So let me say that all research, globally, all over the world, they have confirmed that diversity in leadership improves the efficiency and the productivity of any organization. So this is one thing. There is an economic factor. The second thing is that research has also confirmed that when there is diversity in leadership and on boards, there is less corruption because you break the network of corruption. So you tend to have more transparency, you tend to have more integrity and hence better governance. This is the second reason. The third reason, which I think is unnegotiable, is as a human right, we women have the right to reap the fruits of what we cultivated, the seeds, all the years of studying and all the years of work. We are entitled to be promoted and to have access to leadership positions. So in a nutshell, this is why we really have to be there in all the leadership positions. Another thing is, why do we talk about women leadership? Men also face difficulties to reach leadership positions. So why are we talking specifically about women? Women have their very special obstacles that probably men don't face. Maybe they professionally, they face the same challenges, but let's look at the social side. The challenges are really different. There are many, and I will not go into each and every one, but let me start by the care work. Who cares for the kids? Who cares for the parents? Who cares for the in-laws? It's always the woman. It's not a shared responsibility, unfortunately, with very few exceptions. So the woman, she finishes her whatever, she's on call, she finishes her clinic, her work in the hospital, and she goes back home not to rest, but to start working, but in a different site. Another obstacle, which I personally was guilty of, is the unconscious biases that we have. And I think they were mentioned in one of the presentations, but let me say that this is really, it is very dangerous. If there is a bias that I'm aware of, I can go into discussions and negotiations and understand the other perspective. But if there is a bias that I am unaware of, that becomes a real problem. And let me give you a personal example that unfortunately I'm not very proud of, but I think it's very important to share. Some years ago, maybe like 10 years ago, I was interviewing a candidate for a job, and she was just amazing. And the chemistry clicked. She was professionally very well. I told her, okay, you got the job. So her first question was, thank you, but can I ask, please, I might need some time off before I finish my 6 months probation. I asked her, why do you need time off? Yani, we didn't start yet even. She said, because I'm getting married. I told her, mabruk, congratulations, great news. But tell me, do you plan to get pregnant in the first year? I was too blunt to say that, and I thought I had the right to ask her this question. And me working in the field of gender and working on the empowerment of women, I didn't realize that this question is really biased. It shows a lot of biases. And alhamdulillah, I became aware of how bad this question is when she got pregnant, because she got pregnant very quickly, and she was very stressed for losing her job. It's only then that I came to realize the big mistake that I have done, then that I should be supporting her and not freaking her out. So this is another example of the many obstacles that women face at the workplace. What are the solutions? Actually, the presentations, they have addressed many solutions, and I would like to confirm with my colleagues who talked about training and leadership training. Maybe if I add something here, I would say let's focus on values-based leadership. Let's make sure that in the training, we address the different values that need to be there in a leader, and address the different situations that a leader might find herself in, whereby there's an opportunity cost. Maybe if I choose one value, I am working against the other value. The other thing, as I was just talking about unconscious biases, I think it is very important to address, because this is the hidden part that we never realize unless we do the mistake like what happened to me. The second recommendation I would have is networking, أو التشبيك. It is very important to network and network and network. But let me say something. Networking is not about collecting business cards or giving away your business cards in all conferences and in all meetings. Networking is more than that. Networking is keeping and maintaining the relationship. It's a long-term investment. Maybe I get to know Dr. Rasha today, we have a mutual interest today, but that doesn't mean that once our project or our mutual interest is over, I just forget about her. No. We have to always stay in touch. And when you network with people, be always aware that some of them, they love to help others. They help and by building the capacity of others. You have to be mindful when you meet those types of people, because they are a big investment for you. I believe we also talked about role models in one of the presentations, which I had as an important recommendation. But let me also say that when you are a role model, you have a big responsibility of helping other young women into the field. One of the sayings that I really like, I don't remember where I read it or where I heard it, but it says, young girls have the right to dream, but they cannot dream of something they cannot see. Make the role models visible. Let them be out there, and let the young women getting into the oncology field see that, yes, it is doable and it is possible that I hold one of the best leadership positions in my country, in the region. This is very important. Mentoring was also mentioned, which I think is also very important. And sometimes you might be enrolled in a formal mentorship program, but other times a mentor can be a friend, a colleague, someone that you got to know through your networking, someone who is interested in developing you. So definitely mentoring is very important. Maybe my last 2 points, one of them is about well-being and work-life balance. And maybe this is related to the obstacle I talked about care work. I'm not an oncologist, I'm not a doctor, but I can imagine the amount of stress that you face on the job. And you can tell me more, but I think living in a state of stress or in a flight or fight mode is very draining, especially for the woman, because she has her own fights and battles at home with the kids, taking care of the people around her and so on. So I think it is very important that women start learning about their well-being, start appreciating the time they have, start appreciating the relationships in their life, start to give themselves the credit for what they do. Most of the time, we just think that we're not doing enough. We are guilty because we spent some time in the hospital and our kid needed this time more. There is a capacity for what we can do. And I would say always set your priorities. Don't feel guilty. And it is very natural and normal that at different ages, you have different priorities in life. So always set your priority and be happy with whatever you achieve in those priorities. The very last and most important thing that I would like to put the many underlines, and I think Dr. Sharifa will agree with me because I heard her saying that once, is engage men. Yes, women are half of the society, but men are the other half. We need their support if we are aiming for enhancing our roles and for achieving more on the job. So engage men. It's very important that we don't talk in closed circles. No, we need them more. We need them to hear our cause and to understand why it is important for us to be on leadership positions. I hope that was useful, and thank you very much.
Thank you so much for this lovely gathering. Thank you so much for the attendees. I will talk briefly about leadership. Okay. Thank you. I will talk briefly about leadership. احنا فين؟ أنا هتكلم على المراكز الطبية المتخصصة. إحنا 81 مستشفى، عندنا 9 بس مديرات سيدات أو CEOs لمراكز الأورام في الوقت الحالي, which is 8% from the 82 hospitals أو 81 hospitals. There is a gap, there is a gender gap in leadership in Egypt all over. In many professions, we have what is called a glass ceiling. Glass ceiling, let me start that we are all in this room, we are so lucky. We didn't live like our grandmothers lived. We have more career opportunities for women or for females now than what our grandmoms have. Or had. But still, we have this glass ceiling. There is a lot of professions we cannot reach the top of it in our country. The number of women leaders in our country is less than 9% all over in all professions. And this tells the story. Okay, the question is, how can we fix that? And that's how we thought about we gathered in one mission, which is Women for Oncology.
And I'm so happy to be a part of it. What is our aim and who is our target? Our target is all oncologists, all pharmacists working in oncology, or all females working in the oncology field. Training and self-development is one of our main aims in this foundation. Empowering women oncologists to become leaders in our field, the balance between our professional career and our self-development or our self-achievement or our self-learning is one of our aims. How to do that? That's our role. That's our role, how to help the younger oncologists or the younger females in oncology to do that. Mentoring younger generations. Mentoring, I can say in a sentence that, for example, my mentor is Professor Dr. Samir Matawa. The mentorship, I found it's a science. It's a well-organized relation between a mentor and a mentee. How to speak together, how you can empower the mentee, how can you facilitate them to be good leaders in their professions. Networking, and Laila actually talked about networking. I cannot add more for what you said. And be aware of unconscious bias. أنا هتكلم في unconscious bias because أنا لقيت نفسي غلطت نفس الغلطة بتاعت unconscious bias in my career. أنا لما جيت أختار نواب مديرين أو مساعدين مديرين أنا اخترت كلهم males. All of them are female. All of them are males. لأن أنا سألت الفيميلز اللي عندنا are you interested إن أنتوا تاخدوا post graduate يعني أي studies في المانجمنت، قالوا لي لا وما حاربتش فيها. الميلز في 3 منهم، في حد قاعد منهم النهارده موجود اهو، قالوا لي ناخد studies. لا أنا ما حاولتش. لا I have to empower them. I would have to empower the females. لازم كنت push them to take this. لازم كنت أحاول to facilitate this for them. أنا ما عملتش كده، بس ما تعلمتش ده غير لما خدت الومن ليدرشيب بروجرام اللي اتكلموا عنه. فعلا يعني احنا بنستسهل. فيميل زي ما ليلى قالت هتجيب بيبي، هتاخد اجازه، هتاخد مش عارفه ساعتين تاخير. فكل الحاجات دي احنا we have to be aware of it. لازم نساعد the younger generations، لازم نخلي الدنيا عندهم اسهل. وده ابتديت اعمله يمكن بعد ما درست الحاجات دي في ال younger generations في ماي سنتر السلام انكولوجي سنتر. ان انا في بنات عندنا ساكنين مثلا في محافظات تانية، انا نزلت معاهم وشفنا شقق مع بعض واخترت لهم حاجه جنب المركز وفرشناها almost مع بعض عشان ما يفضلوش رايحين جايين 3-4 ساعات، عشان to keep them in the center. وفي ناس لسه قاعده في المركز. What is the most important attribute of effective leader? Emotional intelligence. دانيال جولمان من أكتر الناس اللي اتكلموا عن emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is understanding your emotions and others' emotions and know how to influence others as well. What are the components of the emotional intelligence? The first and the most important is self-awareness. Self-awareness is to know your limitations, your strengths, your values, and to not to only speak about this, but to do what you say, to be example for your mentees, for the younger generations you're working with. The second thing is self-regulation. You knew your emotions, You knew everything about yourself, your limitations, strengths, and everything, how to regulate this. You have to know when to step back. In a conversation, for example, how to control yourself. احنا بنتعرض لناس واحنا في الشغل ممكن ان انتوا to outburst تنفجروا فيهم. How to control yourself ده is a science. احنا بنتعلمه. How to step back. You have to learn when to step back. لما تلاقي حد بيستفزك لحاجة ممكن انت تغلط، ممكن تقول اي حاجة، وده كل ده بالتمرين. مش leadership is not just حاجة innate أو البني آدم بيتولد leader. لا، البني آدم بيتعلم حاجات كتير قوي عشان to be an effective leader. The third thing is motivation. Motivation to yourself and how to inspire younger generations to do more and to be more. Empathy is one of the most important pillars in the emotional intelligence or in the leadership. Empathy is to put yourself in the other person's shoe, to know how what they want, what they need, to know everything about your employees, your subordinates, your colleagues. If you're a team leader, you have to know how to understand every one of them, how to get the best from the one in front of you in your work. And the last is social skills. Social skills is very important for all of us, for each leader. In our home, in our social circle, in our work, that's what they say about a people person. A people person is the one who can understand everyone around. And how can you communicate with the people around you? This is the effective leadership. All what I said, I will not read the definition of it, but what I said with all the components I said is the effective leadership. Leadership is the process of influencing group of toward achieving goals or shared goals together. The first theories was studying the personal characteristics, and they found that there are 7 traits which are associated with successful leadership. The first of which is the drive of each of us to have effort and for the achievement in your career, achievement in your personal life, doing a balance between them, the drive to be a leader, the drive to do so, and the desire to lead and influence others, and while taking the responsibility while influencing these people, the honesty and integrity, and being consistent between what you say and what you do is very important in leaders. And of course, self-confidence to convince your followers of the rightness of their goals and decisions. Intelligence, the IQ is important as the EQ. الحاجتين لازم يبقوا موجودين. ال EQ لوحديها مش هتعمل good leader. ال IQ will do the job, or both of them will do the job. And the job relevant knowledge, of course, دي هتدي more self-confidence, هتبقى مقنعة للfollowers or to your subordinates, or to understand what are they doing and the implication of the decisions we are all having. And the last but not least, the extraversion, or to be extrovert, not an introvert, not shy, to be sociable, to know how to talk with people, to know how to listen. The art of listening. Listening is an art. Listening برضو ده أنا اتعلمته. دي مش حاجة سهلة خالص إن إحنا نقعد نتكلم مع بعض وإن أنتوا تقعدوا ساكتين وتسمعوا الناس اللي قدامكم. It's very difficult to إحنا بالنسبة لنا على طول بنinteract وبنjudge وبنسمع عشان نرد. لا، ازاي تسمع الناس اللي حواليك، ازاي تعرف النيدز بتاعتهم is very important. leadership development او البروجرامز اللي احنا اتكلمنا عنها بتعتمد على 3 حاجات مهمه: الانديفيدوال ليرنر كاركترستكس، البني ادم اللي بيتعلم، الكواليتي and nature of the leadership development program، وده هتكلم عنه في 2 points, and the genuine support of the leader, supervisor or mentor. What is a good personal leadership development program? It should include the following. taking او يعني لازم لما تروحوا اي تريننج او اي ورك شوب تفكروا في شويه حاجات اللي هتستفيدوا منها. taking responsibility, gaining focus, developing life purpose, starting action immediately, and developing effective and achievable goals and dreams. وفي كلمة اتعلمتها من حد من اللي كانوا they were يعني بيدرسوا لي في أمريكا، قالوا لي dream big and start with the smallest steps. You should have a dream and work on it. بس مش هتوصلوا للحلم بتاعكم ده إلا بال smallest and the easiest steps to reach your dream. In healthcare organizations, expected results from investment في التريننج والleadership is very important and crucial. وهو ده اللي برضو يعني يمكن a few words ليلى talked about، ان ده بيحسن الانكم، بيحسن الكالتشر بتاعه الاورجنايزيشن اللي احنا فيها، بيخليها positive culture. وده يمكن دي بتتعرف وبتتحس قوي. يمكن احنا زرنا دكتور يحيى صفوت، دكتور السيرجيكال انكولوجي في القصر العيني، وقال لي كلمه حلوه قوي، يمكن يعني انا بعتز ان انا سمعتها قوي من حد من الاساتذه بتوعنا. قال لي انا حاسس باللويالتي بتاعت الناس في المكان لمركز اورام السلام. قال لي انا مش عارف اوصفها بس they are loyal to the place. هو ده البوزيتيف كلتشر او البوزيتيف انفايرمنت ان ذا اورجانيزيشن، ان الناس تكون بتحب المكان، مش رايحه تسد خانه في الشغل، لا رايحين وهم مبسوطين ان هم رايحين يشوفوا their colleagues، ان هم رايحين يساعدوا cancer patients، ان هم رايحين يعملوا حاجه. السكندري ريزلتس، الحاجات بقى اللي احنا بنقول عليها اللي هي ال healthy work environment، ال risk taking وال delegation. الdelegation is very important pillar في leadership. مش لازم عشان انا ابقى leader انا اللي اعمل كل حاجه. real leaders know that success will not be a one person job. Delegation is very important, and empowering your staff and others to do the success is very important to be successful. أنا رجعت. Sorry. Conclusion, leadership is related to motivation, interpersonal behavior, and communication. It's important to increase the employee satisfaction. Good leadership involves the effective process of delegation and empowerment. And effective leadership is a two-way process which influences individual and organization performance. Thank you so much, and I hope you all to be members in Women for Oncology. I hope we can do what are we dreaming of to give to and to achieve to all the females in the oncology field to be real leaders in their jobs. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rasha. We are gonna end our session, but I need to know how many oncologists, female oncologists in the floor. How many? Yes, I just needed to know how many.
I counted the number of females and the males in this room, and the ratio is 1 to 10. in favor of females.
No, let's
So I think that all you have said and all you have done is really related to the females in this room and in the globe.
Okay, I have a recommendation, which is at the NCI, at all the hospitals working and all the institutes working in the field of oncology. We want them to make a sort of statistics, how many women and how many in each department. I think Dr. Heba and myself can help in the NCI, and everyone can help in his own organization. Yes, this. Yeah. That's great. Yes. Sure. The preliminary statistical data, yes. إن شاء الله خلاص سهلة بالنسبة لنا في المعهد. Yes. My question is a lady or a woman, she's not in a leadership position, is this considered as عنف ضد المرأة? And I will tell you why I'm asking this question. We are preparing something which is called مناهضة العنف ضد المرأة. They are 16 days. It is on November. And every committee has to say a certain idea and what is العنف ضد المرأة in this committee. I'm the chair of the Committee of Scientific Research. I don't find عنف ضد المرأة in the Committee of Scientific Research. Yes, is this considered as عنف
المعنوي?
Because if this considered as عنف, I'm inviting you all to share us in this occasion. It will be by November. Is it considered as عنف or not? I want to know your answer.
يعني أنا الديفينيشن طبعا حضرتك أدرى بيه، ولكن هو العنف المعنوي ضد المرأة لو كان هي عندها كل البوينتس and the scoring system to achieve something وانتي منعتيها او المؤسسة منعتها بشكل واضح. واعتقد ان ده في عالم الميديكال اونكولوجي او الاونكولوجي عموما مش موجود. بالعكس حتى الاجيال الصغيره اللي عندها تالنت وعندها اكتيفيتي، وعندنا هنا اكزامبل اهو واحده اسمها ماهنور، هي شغاله لسه في شركه فارماسيوتيكال ولكنها يعني اوتستاندينج. وفي طبعا ناس كتير موجودين، دكتوره ريم والدكتوره مريم وناس كتير من الفارماسيوتيكال كامباني. فاعتقد ان بالعكس because ان فيميل عندها دريم و she take a very simple step by step and prove herself and she is very sociable anyone يعني and she is collaborative and she is update herself, she taking care of her presentation and personality. and I think يا دكتورة نادية ما فيش حد هيمنعها بشكل صريح، لكن لو كان في هناك منع documented طبعا هي ممكن حتى ده يبقى يعني تعدي على حقوقها في العمل.
Thank you. بس هو عمر ما هتكون documented، عمر لما يعني احنا we are very little في leadership and it will never be documented. يعني I can consider it as a problem not as عنف ضد المرأة. Yes.
أنا عايزة أشكر حضراتكم جدا على جلسة متميزة، ما افتكرش إن في مؤتمر أو اتعمل فيه جلسة بالجمال والقوة دي. احنا دورنا دايما في المؤتمرات ان احنا نجتمع مع بعض نتكلم في كل ما يهمنا. يعني مش شرط اللي يهمنا يبقى طب بس او يبقى علم بس. انا شايفه انه احنا ده مؤتمر متميز لا حضراتكم اللي خليتوا الجلسه دي فعلا مميزه، لان احنا كلنا يمكن انا ما اعرفش حضراتكم تعرضتوا ليه ولا لا، بس انا تعرضت انا تعرضت لظلم ما خلال فتره بناء الكارير كطبيبه اولا وكمديره ثانيا، وطبعا طريق المراه في العالم كله مش ممهد زي طريق الرجل. واذا كان الازمو ولا كانت الجمعيه الاوروبيه ولا الامريكيه هي اللي بتنادي بالمساواه، امال احنا هنا اظن الوضع عندنا هيكون احنا بنحاول. انا كنت عايزه اضيف للمجموعه الجميله دي دكتور الاستاذه هبه راشد. انا بقيت بقول لها دكتوره هبه من كتر ما تعاملنا مع بعض في المجال الطبي. استاذه هبه راشد رئيس مجلس امناء ومؤسسه مرسال، وهي اللي مؤسسه ليها. وبصراحه دعمها لمراكز الاورام والمرضى الاورام في مصر شيء غير مسبوق. احب ادعوك انك تقولي كلمه. لو مؤسسه مرسال مؤسسه خيريه بتدعم مرضى الاورام في مصر.
والله شرف كبير ليا ان انا اكون في وسط حضراتكم. انا عارفه موقعي غريب شويه، انا خريجه ألسن، انا جايه من حته تانية خالص. بس اضافه للكلام اللي حضراتكم قلتوه، انا يمكن شفت بقى العنف من الناحيه التانية، من ناحيه المريضات الاورام. يعني انتوا اكتر هتتكلموا عن الدكاتره، بس انا شفت الناحيه التانية المقابله قد ايه هما بيتعرضوا لظلم، بالذات كل ما بننزل تحت في الاقاليم. شفت حالات بعين كتير قوي كانت بتجيلنا مرسال، الحالات دي عندها ورث وعندها دخلها الشخصي، ومع ذلك مش قادره تاخد ومش قادره تاخد العلاج بتاعها من ورثها ومن فلوسها، علشان في حد حاطط ايده على الورث وعلى الفلوس، وكنا في الاخر بنتكفل بيها، لان يعني مش هنضحي بروح بني ادم عشان هو واقع عليه ظلم من ناحيه تانية. وتحت مبدا للاسف يعني ان هي حياتها مش مهمه قوي، يعني عادي يعني كان بيتقال لنا كده بالحرف من الزوج ومن اهل الزوج، ما خلاص يعني لما لو ماتت يعني ما يتجوز واحده غيرها. يعني انا اسفه والله ان انا بقول الكلام ده، بس انا شفته بعيني، انا مش بسمعه مجازا. ومريضات تانية كانت حتى الموضوع كان ابسط من كده، كان مجرد زرع نخاع وان حد يتبرع لها من الاسره، وما كانوش بيرضوا يتبرعوا وكانوا بتموت. يعني دي حالات انا شفتها بعيني واشتغلت عليها بايديا، وحتى مع تكفلنا بالتكلفه الماديه. بس هم طبعا في جزء قله وعي، ان هم فاهمين التبرع بالنخاع ده هيجرى له حاجه وهيتشل ومش عارف ايه، وجزء تاني ان هو شايف ان هي لا تستحق المحاوله اصلا، عشان واحده ست يعني. فهو للاسف يعني الاضطهاد ده جزء منه صحيح للفريق الطبي، بس الواقع كمان على مريضات الاورام في مصر اكبر بكتير، بالذات كل ما ننزل تحت في قبلي يعني. صحيح.
ده جزء
ده غير طبعا ان هو يعني رغم ان في مجهودات كبيره وفي المبادرات الرئيسيه، بس لسه المريضات في الجنوب بالذات بتعاني كتير. احنا لما بننزل قوافل طبيه في الصعيد بنلاقي ست لسه في مفهوم ان هي عندها ورم بقاله فتره طويله في صدرها وهي اصلا ما كشفتش. يعني ناس بتتصور شويه في القاهره ان خلاص المبادرات بقى في كل حته وسهل ان هي تكشف وتفحص، لا، هو احنا كل ما بننزل في الصعيد لسه المراحل متاخره قوي، وهي ممكن تبقى بتعاني فتره طويله وما ابتدتش حتى اول خطوه في الفحص. شكرا لحضرتك.
أنا شاكرة جدا. Anyone who wants to comment? We need to take a photo. Thank you so much, distinguished panel. شكرا لي. Thank you, audience, for holding over 2 hours, and we hope that we have delivered the message. Please be with us. All together, we are partners, as well as male partners.